I write these observations from a world whose name no longer matters. The archives say we were once part of 1,000,000 worlds. They say many things. Above our cities hangs a sky of perpetual fire. Ships enter it and vanish. Messages are launched into it and return centuries later addressed to civilizations that no longer exist. The machinery that sustains our lives was built by ancestors whose names have become prayers and whose manuals have become scripture. Every generation believes it is witnessing the end. The truth is less dramatic. The end already happened. We simply continue. The ancient philosophers argued over the nature of mankind. Was man noble or savage, rational or irrational, divine or animal? The Age of Strife has settled the matter. Man is a creature that survives information he was never meant to possess. Consciousness was the original mutation. Every disaster since has merely elaborated upon it. Before awareness, there was only existence. Then some ancestor looked upward. He noticed the stars. He noticed death. He noticed himself. The wound has never healed. Everything humanity has built since then has been an attempt to bandage that injury. Empires, faiths, philosophies, wars, all elaborate excuses for remaining alive another day. The old records speak proudly of progress. How curious. A species invents weapons capable of burning worlds and calls it advancement. It constructs machines that can think and calls it enlightenment. It tears open reality itself and calls it exploration. The corpse congratulates itself on the quality of the knife. Now the galaxy lies shattered. The warp boils. Worlds scream alone in the dark. Yet even now, mankind refuses to draw the obvious conclusion. Hope survives every refutation. It is the most resilient parasite ever evolved. Observe the citizen. His world is dying. His rulers are insane. His children are starving. His gods remain silent. Still, he says, tomorrow, always tomorrow. Humanity does not survive because it is strong. It survives because it is incapable of accepting evidence. Perhaps this is wisdom. Perhaps madness. I no longer distinguish between them. The greatest deception of our species is not religion, nor politics, nor ideology. It is the conviction that suffering must possess meaning. People will endure almost anything if convinced it serves a purpose. Remove the purpose, and agony becomes intolerable. Thus every age manufactures explanations. The worker suffers for prosperity. The soldier suffers for victory. The martyr suffers for salvation. The scholar suffers for truth. The species suffers for the future. And yet, prosperity collapses. Victories are forgotten. Salvation never arrives. Truth remains inaccessible. The future becomes another corpse beneath the mountain. Still the suffering continues. Astonishing. One might almost admire the determination. On some worlds, mutations consume entire populations. On others, machines rule over their creators. Elsewhere, psychic outbreaks transform cities into charnel houses. Every horror imaginable has occurred somewhere. Most have occurred repeatedly. Yet mankind studies these catastrophes only to discover fresh methods of reproducing them. A rational observer might suspect the species has mistaken persistence for success. I once believed darkness was temporary. Most scholars begin there. One imagines some future restoration, a reunited humanity, a recovered golden age, a final answer. Then the years accumulate. One studies enough ruins. One opens enough tombs. One reads enough desperate final messages. Eventually, a realization emerges. The darkness is not an interruption. It is the baseline. Order is the anomaly. Meaning is the anomaly. Hope is the anomaly. The universe requires no justification for cruelty, because cruelty is merely what conscious creatures call reality when it ignores them. The stars do not hate us. The warp does not hate us. History does not hate us. Hatred would imply attention. The cosmos has never noticed our existence. This, I think, is what most terrifies us. Not that we are doomed, but that our doom is insignificant. I am often asked why I continue writing. The answer is simple. One records the weather during a storm. One records symptoms during a plague. One records observations during a civilizational extinction. Scholarship is merely documentation performed after hope has expired. Soon enough, this world will vanish. The archives will burn. The cities will collapse. The names of its inhabitants will evaporate. Another isolated planet will become another archaeological curiosity. Nothing unusual, nothing unprecedented, nothing worthy of remembrance. Such worlds are the most common feature of the Age of Strife. And perhaps that is humanity's final achievement. Not conquest, not enlightenment, not transcendence. Only this: to become aware of the void, to understand precisely what it means, and to continue screaming into it regardless.